So today I'm going to show you exactly how to create your own free AI SEO tools using make.com. And this is completely free to use, kind of like a free version of Zapier. And we've got Kazra Dash on the call who's never built tools with make.com before, right?
No, this is the first I've heard of it. You actually mentioned it before, and I thought you said mate.com. And I thought it was like an online dating website or something.
That could be a completely different video, couldn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So basically, if you want to use make.com, it's kind of like Zapier. I'll show you what I mean in a second. But you can log in right here in the top right, and it kind of just connects different AI APIs and different tools together. So I'll show you a few examples. Once you're logged in right here, you'll see the subscription section, and you can see that you get 1,000 free operations per month. So have you ever used Zapier before, Kazra?
Yeah, I've used Zapier. I think it's a great tool. It saves a lot of time because you can just ping stuff to like Google Sheets or like contact forms to Google Sheets or whatever else. So, yeah, I'm familiar with Zapier. So far, it's making sense to me, this.
That's good. So I haven't lost you yet. All right. So once you're in here, after you've been to the login page, if you go to scenarios over here, it seems a bit confusing, but all you need to do is log in, you go to scenarios, and then you can create your own scenario. Now, all this is basically a workflow. From start to finish, does something that you want to automate, right? I'll show you some examples in a minute, but if you want to create your own new scenario, you just go to create new scenario in the top right there, and you can connect like different apps together. It's a lot more simplified than using Zapier or using, for example, I think another one that people use is called something like Node 9 or something like that. Can't remember. It's been a while since I've done this, but essentially you can connect all these apps together. So one of the best ways to use this is, for example, let's say you wanted to connect a Google Sheet with a list of your keywords. Maybe you generated that from Google Keyword Planner. Then you want to generate the content, or let's say a content outline. You could connect those together, and then at the end of the process, you could connect it to WordPress. Do you want me to show you an example of that?
Yeah, you're starting
I
to
lost
lose
you
me
already.
here. Yeah.
I've lost you.
Um,
All right. So, for example, here's the content outline producer that I've created previously. And once this loads, you'll see that it watches for new rows inside my Google Sheet.
yep.
And then from there, it creates a bunch of prompts. So you see how it's Google Sheets as an icon right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then it has ChatGPT. And then it creates an output inside Google Sheets.
So am I right in saying that it takes the initial information from Google Sheets into ChatGPT and it uses a prompt within each dot of ChatGPT?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, for example, would you find like a content outline automator quite useful?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would say so. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's an example of the setup. And actually, if you want like some of the tools that we mentioned today for free, I'll include it inside my free SEO course. Just go to the course, SEO systems, then make.com, and I'll include a bunch of these scenarios that you can include. But if we go to Google Sheets, you can see the setup. And essentially, it's got my drive, then make.com content outlines automation. And this is the spreadsheet that we've used, right? Now, I'm just going to open this up in a separate tab in the background and try and find the original spreadsheet if I haven't deleted it. Let's have a look. We'll wait for that to load. In fact, we can just link a new spreadsheet to it. So I'm going to create one in the background. And we shall go to make.com. And then you've got your drive linked right there. So you've got Google Drive. And then you have the spreadsheet ID. Now, to get the spreadsheet ID, all you would do is, let's say, for example, we go to sheets.new right here. We'll create a new spreadsheet. And we'll call the first column keyword. And then we'll call the second column content outline. And if we make that shareable, we've got the spreadsheet ID inside the URL. So you see where it says spreadsheets/d/189.
Yep.
So we can plug that inside this section right here, inside the spreadsheet ID. We can basically search for files, right? So put make.com, for example, it's got like make.com content outlines automation, copy of make.com outlines automation, etc. So here's what the spreadsheet example looks like. And you see how it's got this, the URL here, the keyword, LSI keywords, title, etc. Yep. This is all filled in automatically inside the spreadsheet with ChatGPT.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Does it make sense so far?
Yeah.
Yeah. So inside the spreadsheet ID, it says make.com content outlines automation, and that is linked to this spreadsheet.
Yep.
Simple.
I've got that.
All right. We got you back in the game.
Got me back. So you lost me for about a couple minutes, but it makes sense. So far, what you've done, to my knowledge, is you've set up a new Google Sheet. Yep. You've named the Google Sheet. You've went and got the ID of the Google Sheet. You've plugged that into make.com. Yep. And obviously it's got like a search feature as well. And then you've also populated, or you've pre-populated that content outline sheet as well.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, perfect.
Now, you could do this for anything. You could do it for content creation, for example. You could do it for content outlines. You could do it for keywords. Whatever tool you can pretty much imagine, you can create using make.com. So it's really, really useful for this. Now, at this point, now that you've got your spreadsheet set up and ready to go, you see how it says row with headers?
Yep.
These are all the headers from the spreadsheet. So it goes from column A1, which is here, and that extends to all the way across the spreadsheet. So, for example, A1 to Z1.
Right, yeah, that makes sense.
And then you can set a limit here. So you can say, right, I only want to do this for 20 keywords, for example.
Mm-hmm.
So once you've done that, and you set up a Google Sheet, and if you want to set up a Google Sheet module, you just right-click, click Add Module, select Google Sheets, and then you can say, right, watch new rows, or watch changes, or perform a function, etc.
Have you found that it crashes if you do more than 20 at once, or is it fine?
I think it's okay, but at a certain point, the API that is used from ChatGPT is gonna hit like a limit.
Right. Okay, I see.
Yeah. Cool thing about this as well, like you don't have to use ChatGPT. So, for example, if we hit plus over here, we can search for different apps. So we could say, for example, we want to use like Claude in the process. So that's the process so far. And then from here, you would set up your connection with, for example, OpenAPI, which is ChatGPT, create a prompt completion, and then you can choose which model you use. So DaVinci is like a really old model of ChatGPT. You can see, for example, you could use 3.5 Turbo, GPT-3, that sort of thing. Now, inside the prompt section right here, you can say, right, using this URL.
Oh, so that's the actual row, or sorry, the column name. Yep.
Yeah, that's like the reference. And then it will say, and then this is a prompt. So it's saying, what is the main SEO keyword that could be used to optimize an article about that column? Yeah. So as an example, what's the main keyword that could be used from what kind of keywords to track to supply? It would take the keyword ducks. And then
Right, okay.
inside this section right here is finding the LSI keywords.
So the
So it
secondary
says,
keyword.
yeah, exactly. So it said like, pretend you're an SEO specialist. What are 5 relevant SEO LSI keywords that could be used to optimize an article about? And that's basically it. Like each part of the model.
Mm-hmm. So each time you add a bubble, it's an additional script or an additional prompts that you're giving ChatGPT. So for example, if you wanted to do like meta descriptions for what kind of ducks do tractor supply sell,
Yep.
that you could have in one of those bubbles, write me a meta description for that page title, for example.
Yeah, exactly. So, for example, I think I actually created a meta tag description creator quite a while ago. But yeah, you could do the same, for example, for like content outlines, content updates, foreign SEO, that sort of thing.
Right, okay. That's really interesting. I mean, I think it's probably one of those things where once you start using it and once you start actually doing it yourself, you'll probably be a lot more attuned and a lot more trained up to it. It probably seems a little bit complicated now. I mean, you've explained it very well, but it probably seems a little bit complex. But once you're actually in it, I think that it'll probably, like a Zapier, you'll get the hang of things very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, even for YouTube video transcripts, this is a really basic automation, but essentially you would insert your video transcript inside this tool right here. Then in part 2, it will say, right, based on this video transcript, turn it into a neatly organized blog post. Write in HTML Markdown, include H2 and H3 headings, etc., bullet points, and just takes the transcript and makes it really nice. Part 3, write the headline. Part 4, write the slug URL for WordPress. And then part 5, you can just you could create like a draft post in WordPress and then edit it later.
Right, okay. Yeah, that's quite a good setup, that.
Yeah.
Because then obviously you can obviously make certain that everything is factually correct, and you can go through like your checklist and stuff like that you were showing me before.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you want, what we could do together is just create a quick tool now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Okay.
I think what we should do is create a potentially keyword research tool. How hard do you reckon that would be?
Let's try it.
Let's do it.
So, for example, let's create a new Google Sheet. Watch new rows. We can choose which spreadsheet we want to use. So I'm just going to find an example right here and I'll do that in the background, but we can do that. Yeah. But anything else that you can see like this would be useful for?
So I think a few things. I think that with topical authority, like building out a topical map, this would be pretty useful for. Because you could tap into certain keywords. Like you could potentially say, here are 10 keywords that I want to rank for. Give me suggestions based off of these 10 articles, and it might come back with like 200-300 articles that you need to publish. So you've got certain things like that. Keyword research obviously is another big one. What you could potentially do, can it plug into Google Search Console? Do you know?
I think it can. I think you might be able to. I haven't tested that actually.
Well, what you could do is if you are ranking for, let's say, secondary keywords, like variations of your primary keyword, your main focus keyword, what you could do is tell make.com to go into Google Search Console, look at a certain URL, and look at the keywords that it's ranking for, and then look at the content that you have on that page. And if you don't have certain keywords or certain LSIs on that page, you can then tell make.com to make adjustments to your content and use those missing keywords. So I think that could be like another suggestion. That would be pretty long-winded, but if you can make that work, that could be like a really good tool.
Yeah, 100%. So I'll share my screen again now. And you see how I've connected this new sheet that we made called mate.com keyword research inside the spreadsheet ID section right there. Then from here, we can choose a sheet. Obviously, there's only one sheet inside here. Table contains headers, yes. Row of headers, A1 to Z1. And we'll just limit this to like 2 goes. So we'll hit OK like that. And then what we can do is, for example, I've never done this before, but we could connect Claude, Anthropic. So we'll click on create a prompt, and then we'll create a connection. And what you would do is just connect your API key directly to Claude, which I'll do in the background. Which one do you prefer at the minute? You prefer Claude or you prefer ChatGPT?
So obviously we had this debate last week, and it wasn't really a debate because we tested out like maybe 10 prompts on each, and Claude just wiped the floor with ChatGPT.
It was crazy, wasn't it?
So yeah, it's I think the clear winner is Claude. But that being said, it's like it depends what you want to use it for, because I can still see ChatGPT being better in certain cases. Like overall, maybe let's say Claude might win, but a few things to bear in mind with Claude, that Claude isn't it's not connected to the internet, to my knowledge, right? And it also can't create images also. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, can't create images. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's certain things, like if you want like latest news, I would probably say ChatGPT is a much better decision. If you want, let's say, something coded for you, Claude would probably be my go-to.
Yeah. All right, so let's say column 1, you're going to put your niche in. So I know that we talked about this with Claude one-click tools. For example, we created a niche relevant keyword tool, right?
Yeah.
So what we can do is we can do this for our, let's say we've got a coffee website. So put the niche is like espresso in column A. Then inside the text right here, we can say, right, reference column A, ask for my topic cluster, and we won't even do that, but we'll just say generate keywords related to my topical cluster. All right. So just to recap, we've used Claude 3.5 Sonnet, max tokens 1,000 just to make sure we don't rinse the tokens, user type text, and then we'll put the prompt in here along with the reference. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Still got you?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And then we've got the Google Sheet as a reference here. We've got Claude right here. And then we can also just output this into Google Sheets. So I believe that if we click on plus sign, then Google Sheets, so you see how this is all connected to each other in order?
Yeah.
That's what you want. So then we can say, right, let's have a look, see what we got here. We'll just click on add a row, just to keep it simple. You choose the relevant spreadsheet that you want to connect, which is the one that we've got in the background. So I'll just find that in the background. 1 second. Once I scroll through it.
You're going to cut this out?
This is not getting cut out. This isn't getting cut. Everyone tells me to slow down.
This is raw. So I right, okay. I didn't know you were going to do this raw. So I would have been a little bit more active when you're quiet. My bad.
I thought you were quiet today.
No, usually speaking, you do cut out. So I was like, all right, if he's going to cut out, he's going to cut out. But right, let's see how this performs. My question to you is: do you think that this is going to work first time?
No.
Right. Okay.
It could go terribly wrong. All right. So we've basically said, take the niche. And then in column 2, give me relevant keywords. Could go terribly wrong. Claude is going to do that. So it said generate related keywords to my topical cluster. And then it's going to add a row inside the Google Sheet. Like so.
So if I'm correct, we should, by the end of this, have something in column B.
It could be anything. Could be anything. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what's popping here. So
how would you troubleshoot something like this? Because I think that's probably, like, I know we're laughing and stuff like that, but it's probably important for people to actually see how they would go around fixing something like this.
Yeah, you just got to test it. You got to test it and see what comes out. That's the thing. Like, yeah. You just don't know. So, for example, you see how it says text response now after running it? So we can put that inside column B. So we can map the response from this output to column B right there.
Ah, right. Okay, so that's probably where we messed up on, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to hit OK. Then we'll change that. So we'll put, for example, coffee machines. We'll hit run once. And we'll put a few more here. So we'll put, like, for example, espresso and Luwak coffee. You know Luwak coffee?
No, I've never heard of that.
That's the animal that poops it out, and then you drink it afterwards.
Have you actually had that?
Yeah. I remember the days in Bali. Locals laughing their head off. You see how it's generated two responses there?
Ah, right, okay.
And then
there we go.
Here we go. Now we're talking.
Something.
All right. Now, ideally, you would have it. It's been a while since I've done this. Like I said, I'm a bit rusty. But you can see, for example, now we've got the list of relevant keywords for our topical cluster here. Right? So if our topic is, for example, like espresso, then it's mapped that out right here. And then the same for this as well. So like Luwak coffee, I think that's related to espresso, but yeah. That's basically how it goes. And then you can just change the prompts depending on what you get back.
One thing that I would probably say that would make this a little bit better is having two separate sheets, like two separate tabs. So like, for example, I would just have sheet 1 right now as just the keywords, and then sheet number 2 is probably just the actual relevant keywords. I think that would probably be a little bit cleaner, right? Because now it looks like what it's doing is it's ignoring columns or rows 2, 3, and 4, and it's going to the next empty column.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, it's fine to do. Like it makes sense because obviously we know that, but I think that potentially either having two separate tabs in the sheet, or potentially having just two separate sheets in general. Yeah,
that's it. It does take a lot of back and forth. But that's basically how it goes. If people want to see more in-depth tutorials on this and like different tools that I can create with Claude, then just comment below and I'll create some more tutorials for you. But I want to figure out, okay, if people are interested in this or not. And yeah, thanks for being on, Kazra. So now you know how to use make.com.
Thanks for having me.
And if you do want to get more leads, traffic, and sales with SEO, feel free to book in a free SEO strategy session. I've also included a link to my SEO course, which is completely free. You can get that link in the comments description. And that also shows you exactly how to use some of the templates we've talked about today. And yeah, if you want to book in a free SEO strategy session, you get a free SEO domination plan, discover the secrets of link building, and we'll answer any questions you have live on the call. Cheers for watching. Bye-bye.